Is it
like
possible that maybe...
I'm not getting all the information?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It's very open-minded of you.
100%.
What would be the thing that would make you go from a 90-95 to a 20? Is there something, just hypothetically, is there something that you could see that would make you?
I don't think so, because...
So let me turn that question inside out. Imagine now for a moment I'm interviewing a Black Lives Matter protester, and they're telling me that there's nothing that could ever be demonstrated to them, or any kind of information that they could ever see, that would make them go from a 0 to a 90. Like, how would we resolve our disputes with that person?
I don't know.
Hi there. Does anyone here have 5 minutes for an interview, for a really quick interview? Just asking people why they're out here, and it's 5 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Do you mind if we stay in the shade?
No, it's fine.
Awesome. I'm Nathan.
I'm Shannon.
Shannon?
Yeah.
Hi, Shannon. Pleasure to
Hi,
meet you.
nice to meet you.
What brings you out here? It's Saturday, beautiful sunny day.
No, I came down for the support the police rally. There was a protest planned for anti-Marxism or something, and then there was just a support law enforcement rally. I'm down here for the rally to support law enforcement. And the sign that I had earlier, but I put it away, it says, you can support the police and stand against racism. You can do both, which I 100% believe that. 100%. So that's why I'm down here, just to show the police their support, that I do support them, and this is just ridiculous. We need to be able to figure out, everybody have conversations instead of just fighting.
Yeah.
And it's both sides right now, and I hate it, because again, we just need to be able to have conversation. Even if you disagree, you can still be civil towards each other, and so that's why.
Yeah. I'm hearing you say that there's we need to be more civil towards each other, and that police lives matters also, and you feel like that voice isn't being heard enough, and so that's what's motivating you if that's not correct.
Yeah, no, I do not support the Black Lives Matter movement just because of the fact that they are anti-police. And I do not believe that all police are racist, just like I do not believe that all protesters are rioters.
Yeah.
A few bad ones I don't think should make everybody else look bad. But
what do you think that they want, the Black Lives Matter protesters? Let me know if that's an unfair question.
No, I have to think about it. I think they want the same thing that I want. I think racism needs to be abolished throughout the whole world. Racism is terrible. Nobody, just because of the color of their skin, or who they fall in love with, or their religion, nobody should be discriminated against.
Right.
Nobody. So I think that's what they want. I think again, the problem that I have with them is that they're anti-police. And
so that's the biggest reason that we would be maybe opposed to their coming out here night after night for months on end. But what is the thing that you think they do want that you could agree with them maybe on? Is there something?
I think that I agree with them that everybody needs to be treated equally. Everybody, regardless of the color of your skin. Again, regardless who you love.
Right.
I don't care if you're homosexual, transgender. I don't care.
Yeah.
Everybody has the right to not be discriminated against.
Yeah.
And so I believe that we agree on that. Again, that racism needs.
How do we accomplish that?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
I think that's the big question. I don't know. Yeah. I do think that we've come pretty far. I think we've come a long ways. I mean, we had an African American president I think that we've come a long ways in 100 years. We can all vote, women included.
Yeah.
I think we can do better.
How do we get better?
That's the $1 million question.
Right. Yeah.
That's the $1 million question, because, but I don't.
If things don't get better, what do we do?
Again, that's the $1 million question right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are always going to be people in this world that are racist.
Yeah.
And I don't think talking to them is going to change that. The same way that I don't think violent rioters, just saying to them, hey, let's not do that, is going to stop them from doing it. There's always a small percentage of any group, whether it's police, teachers, protesters, religious leaders, there's always a small percentage of them that are bad people in general.
If things don't get better, between, like, if you perceive to your satisfaction that the Black Lives Matter protests are not getting what they want, and if police brutality or violence does escalate or continues on the path that it is, what should we do about that?
I don't know. See,
I'm asking really hard questions.
No, it's okay.
So, yeah.
No, with the police brutality, that's one area where we differ. So, Breonna Taylor, to me, tragic that she died, but I believe it was a justified shooting because of the fact that her boyfriend fired at the police when they came in. It was a legal warrant that they had. I think if anybody has issues, they should go talk to the judge that signed off on the legal warrant, on a no-knock warrant. But I do not think that anybody should be able to fire on the police, fire guns, and not expect to get fired back at. I just... So, but Breonna Taylor, like I said, that to me, I think was a justified shooting, which there are people that feel differently, and we will never agree on that, even if we talk about it. I mean, I feel like if they have all the information, the right information, because I've heard that, they went into the wrong apartment, they were looking for a person, which is not true. They were looking for evidence. They weren't looking for a person. When they went in, they found a package from her ex-boyfriend. Granted, it didn't have drugs in it. It had clothes and shoes in it. But so right there, I think the police, they went home that night, and that's what they need to do.
So these are specific examples.
So I'm saying that is a very specific example, but a lot of the examples that they say, I think are justified shootings. So
overall, you think that generally, and correct me if this isn't correct,
no,
my goal is to understand it correctly. What about is the violence overall, like between white people and black people, proportionate, or are they disproportionate?
Even by police?
Overall, but by police.
Okay, well, I mean, by police.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that, again, something like 23% of African, everybody who's been keeping everyone at bay, keeping Bronx safe from hitting us, they're leaving. Okay, so they're advising all of us. Okay. Where was I? Tell me.
We were talking about whether or not things were disproportionate.
Okay, apparently like 13% of Americans are African American. 23% of them make up for the arrests or something like that. But when you throw in the fact that 53% of the murders last year were committed by African Americans, I think suddenly the disparity with the numbers the lines get blurred a little bit. Because I do believe that the more involved you are in criminal activity, the more likely you are to have run-ins with the police. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
So what do we do about it? Is there anything we can do about it? What would you advise? Like
I think more training for the police is great. I've talked to police officers.
More training. Okay.
More training. You know what?
Yeah.
Give them more training instead of defunding them. Give them more training on, this is going to hand-to-hand combat. so that if they are pinned down by someone, they know how to get themselves out of that position without having to use lethal force.
So I'm looking for common ground. One of the arguments that I've heard from the Black Lives Matter protesters is that they're looking for a way to maybe even license police, kind of like how hairdressers need a license to do hairdressing.
Yeah.
If we made it so that way police officers needed a license to be a police officer, do you think that would help things?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't understand how that would help. Do they think that there are people that are going into law enforcement if they had to get a license, like, wouldn't? I don't think so. I don't think that would deter anything. I've heard that, make them have master's degrees or something like that. I don't think that's true either, because even if you have a master's degree or higher education, you still have to go through the same police academy as someone that is 22 years old going in.
Another one of the things that I heard is that police officers should maybe be living in the same county or the same locale that they protect and serve. What do you have to say about that? Is that something that we could maybe... No,
I totally disagree with it, and I'll tell you why. Because a lot of with the people not liking the police and being against them, those police officers, they want to be able to go home and leave it at home. They want to be able to go down to the grocery store, not have to worry about people that you maybe had interactions with. Although I think that's okay too. My dad was a probation officer in Tillamook for 20 years. He would regularly at Fred Meyer, hey, Rob. Don't put that in there. I mean, he's fine. He's retired, and
I could leave it out.
Well, anyways, yeah. I mean, my mom's name is Billy. Like, there's no getting around like either one of my parents' names.
Okay.
But so I mean, it's fine if you live in a small town, but I think that it's the same thing with teachers. I work in education, so there are a lot of teachers that don't want to live in the same city that they work in. Because if they're in the store buying a case of beer or something, they don't have to worry about running into one of their kids. So no, I don't think that police should have to live in the same city that they work in.
Okay, and then one of my final questions will be one of the things I keep hearing from Black Lives Matter is do away with police unions. Do you have any opinions on that? If we did away with police unions, the argument is, from what I'm hearing, if I understand them correctly, is that they don't make any products. They just provide a service. And I'm hearing them say that if we do away with police unions, it will enable us to more adequately govern our police.
How is that any different than unions for teachers?
Right, so that's a different discussion, I think.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion one way or the other about police unions. My first thought is they're needed for protection for the police. So I really don't have an opinion on that. I don't really see how that would... Yeah, I don't have an opinion on that. I'd have to think about that and research it a little bit and figure out why they're saying that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's fair. I don't know.
I don't. Like I said, I would have to look into it. One thing that I think that needs to happen, but I want to make sure that it's fair, is the police oversight committees that they're talking about having that are like public people.
Okay.
I really think that anybody that is on that, one thing that they need to do, part of their training to do that job, I think that they need to go do some training that the police do on lethal force.
Okay.
And I think that they need to run through the scenarios, go through some of that training so they have a better idea of what police face.
Okay.
Like they're the not seminar, but the simulators that you can go through, and then again, and just go through some of those trainings, because I actually saw, it was a few years ago, there was a Black Lives Matter activist, was really against the police, but he agreed to go and run through with the police department some of the force training that officers go through. And afterwards, he said that it gave him such a different perspective, and that he actually understood that if you're telling someone, show me your hand, hands, and they're not, you don't know what they're going to pull out, if they're going to pull out a knife. Anyways, that guy, he ended up shooting all of them. So I just think that would be really good for any citizens that are on that. I think they need to go through that. The same way that then, they also need to go through some race training and I can't think of the name, like on bias training. You know, the training. Yeah.
This will be my last question. What is the best thing that we can do to satisfy the unrest? Overall unrest right now. What would make all this a little easier for everybody? What can we do?
You would have to ask them that. I don't know, because defunding the police and doing away with police, I think there are cities that are showing it doesn't work. Everybody in an ideal world, we don't have police, so everybody's more peaceful towards each other. It's not happening. More people are dying, and like shootings are up like 200-300%. I just, like I said, I think everybody talks about more training for the police. I think that maybe is a good place to start. I don't know. I don't really have the answers for that. I don't know, because I don't see right now where, like, there are a lot of people that if I say I support the police, I'm immediately called a racist. Immediately. And I'm not. But then, from the training I've gone through, as a white person, if I say I'm not a racist, that automatically means that I'm actually a racist. So, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like pretty much if you're white, then you're tagged a racist. That's a period. And I just find that ever since I was little, two things that my kids know. I mean, there are two things that I could be called that it just enrages me. If I'm called a racist or if I'm called a liar. Because those are two things that, like, that to me, that is like, that's like my person. That is, I can't think of the words right now, but that is like, what's the word, like, not when you're talking about your integrity. Yeah, that's like talking
about a personal attack sort of thing.
Well, it's my, that goes against the integrity and like who I am. And again, I'm not a liar. I'll tell you, I'll be straight. I'm not a liar, and I'm also not a racist. Okay. But again, anymore, if you're white and you say that, apparently that proves that you're a racist. But yet, I've been standing up against racism since I was a kid.
So I did say I had, like, that was my last question, but I just came up with one more, and then I will try to move on. Sorry, I'm taking up all your time.
No, I don't. I mean,
let me see if I can remember it now. What would be the thing that would make you join the Black Lives Matter movement? Is there something? No. There's nothing.
There's nothing. Because, again, their main basis is that cops are all bastards. Cops want to just kill black people, like, for fun, apparently, is what they make it sound like. That they just go to work and they just want to shoot people willy-nilly, especially if you're black. I will never support that because it's not true. I volunteer with police. My father was in law enforcement. I just, no. And that's the thing. The movement itself, I feel like that's what they stand for, and I will never support that. But at the same time, I do believe that all black people are important. But again, if I say all lives matter, that means I'm a racist. So I can't really say that.
Is the slogan Black Lives Matter an okay slogan? Like, on its own, without, if we, like, just imagine there was no politicking going on and we just look at that slogan by itself.
Well, for me, what my first response would be is, well, why don't all lives matter?
Yeah.
But again, if I say that, I'm racist. So, like, all these, I've taken the classes and all these things, yep, nope, you're a racist for saying that. I've heard the thing about, well, if the house, neighborhood full of houses and one's on fire, that's the one that we put the fire out. Well, and I would say, well, then if that's the case, blue lives matter too, because police are being targeted.
Sure.
And for no other reason than what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, their job. And then I've heard that, well, it's a job. They weren't born with the skin. I have a kid that is severely disabled. He didn't ask. He can't go home at night, and he can't put that away. He can't do that. I mean, that's the way he is. And his life is shitty. He's a shitty life. It affects everything about his life. I mean, and I was thinking...
Do you see the slogan as divisive, or is it...
I do.
You do?
I do. Just because the fact that, again, if I think everybody's important. I think that we need every single black person, we need every single brown person, we need white people, we need transgenders, we need gay people, we need straight people, we need Christians, we need atheists. We need everything. Because life would be so boring if everybody was the same.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. So the reason, again, the statement, because you can't separate the statement with the movement. And really, like Black Lives Matter, the movement, really, when I first noticed them, it was after the Ferguson shooting with Michael. Anyways, and that shooting I also believe was a justified shooting by the police. Again, you can't beat the hell out of a cop and break his bones in his face and start to walk away and then turn, and I don't and expect to live. Because that cop, he wants to go home. He wants to go home too. His family wants him to come home. His kids want him to come home. And so that is when they really started doing their marches.
Police Bureau.
And things like that.
Officers continue to observe members of the groups gathered near the Justice Center, throwing projectiles and actively biting. Stop participating in criminal activity.
Anyway, so...
Failure to adhere to this direction...
That's really loud.
But at the same time, there's another cop that's doing 20 years. The guy was literally running away, and he shot him in the back. That cop deserves to burn in hell. He deserves longer than 20 years. He should never get out.
Yeah, so there are some instances of cops that you don't approve of.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I hold law enforcement to a higher standard than I hold anybody else because of the power that they do have. But,
do you feel like... One second, I'll just wait for this to go.
Stop participating in criminal activity.
It sounds like they're saying biting.
Right, yeah.
The result of the gathering being declared an unlawful assembly or riot. Failure to adhere may also subject you to arrest, citation, or crowd control agents, including but not limited to tear gas and/or impact weapons. Stop participating in criminal activity.
Okay, woo, that was a long one. Okay, so the last thing we left off at was the slogan itself. And I'm wondering if looks like it's riled up. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to come out here and trying to start a dialogue where I'm trying to ask people what they think should be done or if they think there is a problem. And I'm hearing you say that there is maybe a problem, but not even maybe.
Yes, there is a problem.
Okay.
For some, and I know, like in some cities, like down south, I know the racism is definitely more rampant. But and this is going to sound bad, but it's the splitting the country down the middle. But I really think, I mean, the country's been split down the middle for a long time. I don't think we're ever going to have an election where it's like a 70-30 anymore. It's going to be 50-50. And I think that even before all this started, there's such a divide.
Yeah.
And I know my father was a minister and probation officer. They're very, very, in their faith, they believe their faith. I always say, like, I have friends that are Mormons. They're also very, very solid in their faith. If my mom and my good friend sat down and tried to talk and convince the other one to change religions, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter. My in-laws are huge Democrats. My parents are Republicans.
So are we destined to not understanding each other?
I think so.
Yeah.
I do. I don't see... Yeah. I don't see...
Then why be out here?
I'm out here because I think the police need to see that people support them. So, like, I don't, because I've had a bunch of rallies in Washington County, and people are like, oh, you're having a protest. I'm not having a protest. I'm not protesting anything. I just want the police to know that they are supported. That the things that they are being put up with, their families are having to put up with, it's not okay. Because of a couple bad, shitty, racist cops, they're all being called that, and it's terrible. Like, look at the people here that were on our side today. You get a couple assholes or idiots on each side, and shit goes down. And that's all anybody remembers. They don't remember, like, people being able to sit and talk and have dialogue, even if you totally disagree. Last time I was down here, there was some guy. And we were standing next to each other, and he completely, like, we're basically on, if you pick sides, we're on the opposite sides. But we sat there and we talked for like 20 minutes, and it was peaceful, and it was great. And just, I mean, really in the end, you just need to have compassion for each other and try to understand each other and be okay not agreeing with each other.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Without hating the other person just because you disagree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
I really resonate with that.
Yeah, I just, like, my aunt and uncle, oh my God, she worked in law enforcement. They just got married a few years ago. She's a step aunt. Anyways, and my uncle is like a diehard liberal, hates Trump, and she's Republican, and they're married and they love each other, and they just don't talk politics. They can't, and that's fine. Like, the people, I work in education. We don't talk politics at school. We just don't. Politics and religion, there's a reason people say don't discuss those, because people feel very strongly about what they believe in their core.
Yeah, they're deeply held beliefs. Yeah.
Like I said, my mom's not going to be able to convert some Mormon, and the Mormon's not going to be able to convert my mom. They're just not going to. So,
if you had evidence, like hard evidence to your satisfaction, that people do change on a fundamental level on their deeply held beliefs in that way, by having these kinds of conversations where we ask each other questions, would that motivate you to go out and talk to the protesters with questions?
Oh yeah.
To get it would.
Yeah,
okay.
Because this is the thing. I mean, what I love about hearing different opinions from everybody is that, you know what? Maybe somebody else has an opinion, or they've looked at something from a different way that I haven't looked at. And so that's good. So as far as like the whole white privilege, I'm one of those that I think white privilege is a bunch of bullshit. I used to think that because I grew up dirt poor, and I have a good friend, and we're like, well, apparently the privilege just passed us up because we were at the food banks, we had the food stamps, super embarrassing when I was a kid, So I didn't really feel very privileged.
What is white privilege to you?
Well, this is what the part that I'm starting to kind of resonate. I mean, I understand a little bit. I will never know what it's like to walk in a person that's black in their shoes ever. Yeah. I do not know what it's like around this area.
Is that what it is? Is that what the privilege is?
I think a little bit, but then I know, okay, there are neighborhoods where my husband grew up that I could go walk in and I would stick out and I would be very much unwelcome there. Because I would be one of the few white people there. My cousin's husband grew up in Hawaii. He's white. and he posted something about all the, basically said the story of a boy that, you know, wasn't allowed to go trick-or-treating, you know, was just horribly, like, friends, like, he wasn't allowed to have friends over, he couldn't go to certain friends' houses because he was white.
Yeah.
And then it was him, because he'd be in Hawaii, you know?
Was there once white privilege at one point, and now there's not?
Well, yeah, back in this yeah, definitely. I mean, if you
when would you, and let me know if this is not a question you want to answer or something.
I'll try.
You'll try, yeah.
No, I'll try.
I'm not here to like corner you and make you feel weird.
Twist it weird. I mean, I'll try.
Yeah. When do you think white privilege more or less went away? If it's not around today, but it used to be, then when do you think that turn happened?
I don't even really know how to answer that. So, my husband's Italian. His grandfather came over here in 1908, I think, when he was 5. And for whatever reason, it switched, but like in the late 1800s, there were Italians that were lynched. I didn't even know about this till I was researching. There were like 14 of them that were arrested for doing something, and they actually got off. 11 of them were taken and lynched, killed.
Right.
Even though
and they were like Irish.
Yes.
Also,
Irish and Italians.
Potato famine is the whole thing.
Irish and Italians. That was.
Are they?
He used to say the only people lower than Italians were Irish. But I don't understand.
Is that dichotomy though equivalent to like any Black history?
No, I mean, no, but I will say, like, coming from Italy, like, as far as, like, giving money, I always say repercussions, and that's the wrong word. But my husband's family in Italy, they didn't have slaves. And they're technically white. So, no, I don't think it is, but I think, like, so that's my own family's personal history. So, like, my kids, ever since they were little, they were raised in a home. I always reminded them that you don't ever judge people by the color of their skin or anything like that, because I would say, look at Pop Rubio. He came over here and he was, just because of where he was from, he was looked at as trash. And so, like, for me, like, my kids, that's just how they were raised, that you don't discriminate against people like that.
Yeah. Okay, well, I feel like I've taken up a lot of your time, and I feel like I can talk to you for a long time. You're really easy to talk to. Thank you so much for your time.
I don't have all the right answers, but I mean...
Yeah, it's good to get your perspective. Do you have any questions for me? I want to open up and be fair to you, since I've asked you so many questions.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you know, obviously if I said something wrong, well, I didn't give you my last name. So
Sure. And we were masked up, so it's all good.
I know.
Did you enjoy the interview process?
Oh yeah, I do. I like sitting down and being able to talk to people.
Yeah.
And just going back, one thing that we talked about is that I don't believe that as a whole society, sitting down and talking is going to change people's minds. But I do believe that...
That's funny, because that's what my YouTube channel is all about.
But I do believe... Really?
And it works.
But,
yeah. And it works to change my mind, too.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying is that... But I do believe that there are individuals out there, a lot of individuals that are open to it. But I think that as a whole, and I think part of it is like the media and the way that they try to... I think individually, but I don't know as a whole society, if just discussing will change. So I don't know what the answer is, but
correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't think change is possible at all, or that people don't change their minds. That's the impression that I'm left with, and correct me if that's not what you mean.
Again, that's a tough question.
Yeah, it is. I think one of the questions I asked was, what would satisfy the unrest? Another one was,
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you think is causing the unrest? And let me know, because you're enjoying the conversation. That's the only reason why I'm continuing with my questions. But
And I mean, I always have to, like, because I don't ever, again, want to say anything that, again, makes me seem racist. That's the thing that
Sure.
But I think that there are a lot of African American families in the United States that are doing well. And
if a majority of them were not doing well, both financially
I
and
think that a majority are, actually.
a majority are doing well.
I do.
What if what would be the criteria? Let's put it like, I'll rephrase my question. Let's say like 100% on a scale between 0 and 100, where 0 is let's say black people and white people are disproportionately given a fair shake in America, and 100 is they're absolutely given the same shake in America, and there's no disadvantage to being black at all. And where do you think you would be on that scale?
I don't know.
It's a really tough question.
That is, because I think really, even if you were to ask, okay, say if you were to ask somebody black, it would really depend on their own experience, their own individual experience.
We can't look at it collectively on a larger scale?
Well, I can, but what I'm saying is that I don't know, like, percentage-wise. I don't know. My best friend, like, growing up, again, like, so we were dirt poor. Her dad was, a doctor, and mom was a nurse. They have, shitloads of money. So she's 100% like, oh, yeah, definitely white privilege, Matt. I mean, it's white privilege is everywhere. And again, from my personal experience, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because, but I do feel like there are African American families that are comfortable financially, and I mean, granted, this is like but look at the Obamas. Guarantee they're girls.
What would make you think that there isn't a fair shake between blacks and whites in America? Is there something that would persuade you that there is a difference in treatment, both either economically or violently, or police brutality or property?
Yes. I mean, I'm sure there are, but
what would be the thing that you would need to see to think that was happening or that was the case?
I don't know. I'm a big statistics person, but evidence.
Oh, okay.
Too,
so, like, if you saw X times 2 number of black people were unable to buy a house or something, comparatively, on paper, that would be the thing that would make you think that there was not a fair shake.
No, not really. I guess I don't know what the answer is. I think a lot of it too. So again, where I work, they always have all the statistics of how we're.
By the way, I asked them the same questions. Okay, like BLM. I asked them like
unfairly. I'm not feeling unfairly.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So again, I work for a school district, and a lot of times the data comes back, and mainly where we live, it's we have a lot of Hispanic families, okay, Latino families, and so it's always because we, if you look at the discipline, we discipline the, I don't know why she. Yeah, I get that. You can come join our conversation if you want.
I don't want to have a conversation.
Okay, and that's what happens. Anyways, so the data comes back, we're writing more referrals for the Hispanic families. But then what I always want to throw in there too is we need to look at the socioeconomic levels too, because I think that's important too. Look at what families.
Yeah, so if there was like a social or economic disparity that maybe could be explained through historical, like history examples. Like I'm thinking like the number of people who benefited from the GI Bill.
If anybody comes up behind me, they're going to
I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. If
I'll let you know. Yeah. All right. I got you.
I'm like super white because of the fact the back of my shirt says "Back to Blue." That's why.
Right. Yeah, I know. I think we're good. What was I saying? Oh shoot, I forgot.
Statistics. If I could see statistics that that maybe twice as many people were African Americans couldn't buy houses.
Oh, like
talking about statistics.
Yeah. Like I think that's where I was going. Like for example, like the GI Bill. If the number of people that benefited from the GI Bill were disproportionately white compared to the number of people who fought in World War II, and then the argument then would be that is a one variable in a systemic problem which has rippled to the present day because of some historical thing. Would that be persuasive to make you slide lower on that scale that blacks and whites have a fair shake in America? Where 0 would be like they don't have a fair shake, and 100 would be like they do.
Say this. I do believe that whites have more fair shakes.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of times, I mean, I'm trying to think as we're talking to.
That's the whole point of this.
Yeah. So I do.
Yeah.
I just think though that. Again, from what you're made to believe, is that all African Americans, none of them have a fair shake in life. And I don't agree with that.
You don't agree?
I don't. Yeah, I need to think about what I just said there.
Yeah.
I don't agree that all African Americans don't have a fair shake in life. I think that's like that every single African American.
There's a double negative, so to put that forward would be black and white people have disproportionate shakes at life.
Yes.
And especially in America. Does that apply with...
Yes. And also, I have ADD, so like...
And there's a lot going on. I totally get it.
And try again. So I'm trying to follow, but I guess I believe... Okay, let me say it this way.
Sure.
There are more black people in America that are doing well, and their kids, good educations are available to them. There's a higher percentage that way than what the media tries to make you think. Is that I do not believe that every single black family, they just don't have a shot in life.
Yeah.
I think that there are people, again, a lot of times, I think people that come from 2-family homes, I think that... Yeah. I mean, I guess statistics show that if you come from 2-family homes, you have a better chance of succeeding. But I think that has to do with some of like.
Moving northbound on 2nd Avenue.
I think that as like a single mother. I mean, I'm not a single, but if it like single parents. If you're basically working all the time, working 2 or 3 jobs just to support your family, your kids are not going to have as much attention as maybe they need. I don't even know where the hell I'm going with this, actually.
It's okay.
I don't know where I was going with that. But I know the statistics, like, don't quote me on this. But something like in the 70s and like early 80s, there were more, like 70 or 80% of black families, black kids came from 2-parent homes. It was higher than white people. And then
something happened.
Something happened and it shifted. And and I don't know why. I don't know what shifted that. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, there's a lot of questions that I don't know. And
if we found that the shift was socioeconomic, would that be...
Well, okay. I'll tell you what I've heard.
Sure.
Okay, this is from reading, but granted, okay, it was definitely a right-leaning, it was more of a conservative thing.
Yeah.
Is that what happened then when the welfare system then came in and started saying I'm not going to say this right, so it's gonna. It's gonna
It's
come
okay,
out.
do your
It's
best.
gonna come out wrong. But hopefully, talking with me the whole time, you'll know I don't mean it wrong.
Uh-huh.
But what they're saying is that all of a sudden, when the welfare system came out and said, "Listen, if you have kids, then we'll give you money, but if you're a single parent, if there's a man living in the house with you, we're not going to give you the money." And
So you think that was like a government incentive to leave
I don't.
partners, maybe?
I don't know. So this is what my mom. And
You're
this
just
is what
thinking out
my
loud
mom
about it.
says, and I don't ever quite understand exactly what she's talking about. Okay.
Mhm.
What she says is that, like, liberals are taking advantage of black people and just using them. That they really don't care about them, but they're using them. Okay. I've never quite understood what she means with that. But, and what she would say is that it's kind of tied to the welfare system when, they were saying that.
Do you see this as more of welfare? I guess maybe this question is trying to bring it back into
Yeah, because
topic.
I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you think that the protests out here are more about welfare, or are they more about police brutality?
Well, I think that they think it's about police brutality.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think that's the whole thing that they're standing on.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that again, the Black Lives Matter. That is one of the main premises of.
Yeah, we covered a lot of territory today. It sounds like, just to summarize, kind of where we.
Again, remember the ADD brain.
Sure, yeah.
And it's a pretty good
Trust
case
me, I've
here,
got
too, so.
pretty bad ADD too, so I don't know if I'm going to summarize this all that great, but I'll do my best. Sounds like there are socioeconomic disparities that may be the root cause of violence in America that's disproportionately displaying itself different between black people and white people. And maybe it's even potentially caused by welfare, maybe even. And that...
Like I said, I sound like my mom when I say that. That's why, again, one of the things, like, to say that, I don't 100% know why she says that.
Yeah. My goal is to summarize what I'm hearing you say,
Yeah,
so
I
if
know.
any of it is out of alignment, let me know. The thing that would solving socioeconomic disparity solve the police violence, do you think?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. Because, okay, my sister
Yeah.
is super poor.
Uh-huh.
Super poor.
Yeah.
She's super poor because a lot of the decisions she's made.
Uh-huh.
Like the decisions that she makes in her life.
Thanks for picking up.
So even if she suddenly was given like more money,
Uh-huh.
she's going to piss it away. She's not going to be responsible with her money. So that as soon as that money is gone, she's still going to be in the same situation. At the same time, I understand when you don't have any money, if suddenly given like $3,000 or $4,000, you go out and you just spend it because you're not used to having it. But so I don't know if the socioeconomic, if we.
So let's. I could go down that road, which is like how when we. What do we like? How do we actually fix the disparity? How we fix the disparity would be different. I guess I'm wondering would fixing the disparity in the first place be something that would help with police violence?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think
So
so.
even if we did fix it, it's besides the point.
Yeah,
Because it would happen anyway.
Yeah.
So is.
Because
Uh huh.
I think one thing that I see, this is just me, that I see lacking out here a lot with a lot of people, and I work in a school,
Uh huh.
is personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility for what you're doing. The actions that you're choosing, personal responsibility. And I don't see that with a lot of,
God, get the fuck out of our city.
she's on the spectrum, that's my guess. Or at least he is. Anyways, I work with people on okay, maybe he's walking a little.
People are really riled up.
No, I
So
know.
what were you saying about?
Oh, just personal responsibility as far as the fact that like a lot of the choices that people make, like all the shootings that are going on here. Good. And what I hear is, oh, well, it's because everybody's angry. They're so angry because of the way that, they've been treated their whole life. So they're angry, so therefore that constitutes it's okay to be violent. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I think that there needs to be personal responsibility. You don't, even if your life has been shitty, you don't get to go be violent and wreck people's businesses and loot their businesses because you're angry. I think the personal responsibility, I think those are shitty people, actually. I think they're crappy people that are willing to steal from people, and I don't respect that. But that's true. Like I said, with all the looting, you see white people and black people and brown people and every color in there. The people that are going in and doing that looting, there's no personal responsibility because a lot of them have just been, like at the schools, I've seen a shift the last, 15 years. It used to be, you tell a teacher to fuck off, you're gone.
Yeah, if we fix if we made it so that way people felt more personally responsible, would that solve police violence? Some, because I think, okay, and again, I think that, okay, so
Does
that mean police violence is potentially a reason for lack of personal responsibility is potentially a reason for police violence?
Okay, I think that if a person has an interaction with the police, even if you disagree, this is what I used to tell my kid, he's white, he's always been white. When he started driving, though, this is what I said to him. If you get pulled over by the police, even if they're totally wrong, and you didn't do anything wrong, and they're saying that you did something wrong, I don't care. You keep your mouth shut, you follow the directions, do not be a smart ass. If you are a smart ass and you start being a total asshole to them, you start reaching around, not listening. If you reach really quick for your dash or something, you get shot, you deserve it.
How does that? So this is going to be a hard question, and
right.
Please don't take it personally in any way. But in the case of Breonna Taylor, when we were talking earlier, was there a lack of personal responsibility in that scenario in any way?
I think so. I think in the boyfriend.
And just to be clear, he was on his property with a firearm. Is that right?
Yeah. They were in her apartment. Yes.
If you have a break-in on your property and you retaliate with a firearm because it's a no-knock situation, somebody just breaks into your house, right?
Yes.
So this is a hard question.
No,
sorry about.
No,
sorry if it's like in your face. I don't want.
Actually, no. I've thought of this.
In what way then is personal responsibility in entering into that equation?
Because of the fact that you see all the time, I think you see more like accidents of people that keep the guns in their house, guns under their bed, something like that. Somebody actually shoots their kid who came home drunk and was making more noise and the person wasn't expecting that. I do not believe that you should ever fire unless you see the white of the person's eyes and you know who you're firing at. Even if somebody was breaking into my house, I'm still not going to fire on them until I see who it is, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't fire, I don't have guns. But, so I think somebody's breaking in and you just start firing at the door, even if you're scared or something like that, it's irresponsible. I think it's irresponsible. And again, that's how family members get killed and things like that. Okay, so you think the personal responsibility came in firing too soon, maybe, in this scenario? Yeah. But I think 100%, sorry. Sure. 100% that if he hadn't fired on the police when they busted in, she would still be alive. 100%. But he didn't. He fired at them, hit one of the officers coming in, and they fired back. If he hadn't fired his gun, they would both be alive. It would suck, and you know what? I don't even know if she would have had a lawsuit them coming in because they went into her apartment legally. Again, I think if people have a problem with it, they need to go against the judge that signed off the no-knock warrant. But those officers at the time were doing exactly legally what they could do. The judge said you could do no knock. Because if you knock, then if there are drugs in there, they can flush it down the toilet. That's the whole point of a no-knock warrant, so people don't destroy evidence. So, I believe that if a person fires their gun at police, there's a good chance that they're going to die.
Do you think no-knock warrants should be abolished?
I actually don't. Because
if more scenarios happen, though, would that be the thing that would make you change your mind about that? Or can you change your mind about that, I guess?
well, I don't. It would have to be a lot of instances like that. Versus, again, understanding why they have them. But yes, I mean, if that started happening over, but at the same time, I don't know. That's a question that I don't know. Because again, even if somebody were breaking into my house, like I said, how do I know that it's not, my kid that I thought was supposed to be at college and he's stumbling out drunk, can't find the keys. I mean, I've come home drunk when I was younger, and I'm making a whole hell of a lot more noise than I think. And I just feel that there are more instances of people that, again, shot and killed one of their family members. So I personally, my son wanted to have a gun, and I told him don't. Like, he's a hunter and stuff. To me, it's too big of a chance that you're going to shoot somebody and kill someone that you don't want to. So, to answer the question, I think the personal responsibility is on her boyfriend. I do not think that he should be charged because I think that he's traumatized enough by what happened. But I think that if he had not fired his gun, they would both be alive. Even though he was scared, and
So what do we do then? Like, if I hear somebody break into my house in the middle of the night and I don't see them, but I know that they're rummaging around,
call 911.
you call 911. So you don't protect yourself with a firearm.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think if you're in a place where you can call 911, you do. If you have a gun and they, by the time they bust in your doors, I'd be yelling at them, telling them, even if I don't have a gun, I'm going to be telling them I'm going to blow their fucking head off if they come through the door.
So I want to wrap up this interview, but I do want to bring up this one thing that came to mind, which is we talked about the slogan and whether or not the slogan was a decent slogan. So one of the arguments I heard from the other side, so I heard somebody else say this, that it's kind of like standing up for a particular kind of like AIDS marches and breast cancer awareness and like testicular cancer and that sort of thing. Like, would you be opposed to those things if people were organizing under the banner of that particular ailment?
No.
Okay.
No,
why wouldn't you if they use those slogans?
Because the fact, being opposed, that's, I'm not opposed to any protest.
Mm-hmm.
Any protest.
Sure.
I don't care what it's for.
Sure.
Because more than anything, I love...
Yeah, again, you're only out here to let police know that you support them.
But what
for
I'm saying
sure.
is that, like, even though I don't necessarily agree with what's going on, they have every right to be out here and protest what they want to protest. Because of the fact that we live in the United States.
So let's bring the conversation to the slogan and whether or not it's a good one. So, like, if...
Black Lives Matter?
Yeah.
See, I don't think it's a slogan.
It's
I don't
not?
think of it as a slogan.
What do you think it as?
That's the name of their organization.
Earlier, and correct me if I'm not understanding you right.
Or the movement.
Though we were having a discussion about whether or not we thought it was divisive to say, or whether or not it was divisive to be rallying around a banner that uses that moniker or that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I call it a slogan. Maybe a different word is better.
Yeah.
But to me, either way, it's people saying Black Lives Matter, and so I guess my question is, if it is divisive, in what way is testicular cancer awareness not divisive? And are they different somehow?
I think what it is, it's what they stand for. Again, for me personally,
okay.
It's
So
what
the
they
slogan
stand for.
isn't a problem.
Sorry, I'm just trying to do this.
That's fine. Please take your time. I'm not here to
But
like.
yeah, again, for me,
rush you or
it's
anything
no. I
like
know,
that.
I know that.
Yeah.
To me, I the saying Black Lives Matter is I can't separate that from the movement or the organization. I don't. And so.
Yeah. So the question is it divisive to say?
I think it is. Oh,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you this though. I mean,
Sure.
but here's the thing. As a white person,
And I'm just looking for the reasons for why.
But as a white person,
Yeah.
I mean, if I say this, it's the answer is going to be, well, that's because you're a racist and you have white privilege. Those are the answers that come back.
And I hear that other people may have been saying that to you. I'm not here to say that to you.
No, I know that, but
Sure.
I'm not coming back at. But what I'm saying, so to me, yeah, when I hear Black Lives Matter, I agree that they do.
Yeah.
I agree that they do, but I also
Does America think they do?
I think they do.
America thinks that Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, except I grew up in the country. I know a lot of different people. I can honestly say I don't think that I know one person that I can say that person is a racist. That they think that whites are better than blacks. That they think that blacks shouldn't have any rights.
Is racism overt always, or is racism subversive? Like it's not overt. In other words, is it possible to think one isn't racist and for that person to be wrong about themselves?
Oh, well, 100%.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I've gone to the classes. I went to the classes.
Okay.
And every single thing that I might say for myself, nope, it's because I'm a racist.
Right.
I can't. If I say I'm not a racist, well, that actually means I'm actually a racist. I just don't know it. If I say anything, so pretty much because I'm white, I'm a racist.
Right.
I mean, that's so. Maybe people on the other side don't feel that way, but that's what we're being told. And so I think, as far as it's,
if there was disparity between. So this is a real out-of-the-box question. But if there was, let's say the truth was, just hypothetically, that there was disparity, like black people weren't getting a fair shake in America, and police violence is disproportionate for black people than white people, would it then be, could we categorize protesting against, how do I phrase this question? This is a hard question.
I know.
If there were people saying that there wasn't a problem in America in this respect, but there was a problem in America with this respect, and you were in that oppressed group, would you consider it racist, or would you consider it ignorant, maybe, of the people who?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hypothetically, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I was in the group that was oppressed,
Right.
but
If the truth was that that's what.
okay, let me. I don't know if this
Sure.
is going to make sense to you. Let's go to the whole women's movement.
Okay. Sure.
I don't think women are oppressed. I think women in the United States now have just as many experiences and chances to do things as men.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of women that would freak out if I saying that. It's like, oh my God, no. I don't think women are oppressed. So, but then I guess maybe some people might say that I am just, okay, maybe it's my white privilege that I don't see all these things that, but like I said, yeah, I don't see it. You know, Hillary, when she's like, oh, we're going to break the glass ceiling, to me, that's already been broken a
Is
lot.
that really a fair comparison? No, because I think we're talking about police violence, kind of. I think isn't that what the rally and all the unrest is about? Is police violence? Okay.
But I'm just saying that.
It's women are probably less likely. If anything. It seems like men cause all the crime and see the brunt of all of the police
I know, but
violence.
I'm just saying, when that's, the women, I just don't see it, and I am a woman.
Sure.
part of that is because the fact that, I don't know, like, I'm a pretty strong woman, and if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I mean, if somebody tried to, like, hold me back because I'm a woman, I would call them out on it. I don't know if that really makes any sense. Okay, but police brutality. The thing is, there's so many statistics out there, and depending on who did the study, who did the things, there's so many, like, you don't even know what the truth is anymore.
Blue lights don't exist, you fucking idiot.
Anyways, so, like, if I want to go find statistics that say, no, there isn't any police brutality at all, I can find those. If I say, oh, 100% it's against black, I can find those too. I mean, that's part of the problem too, I think, actually, in America.
Is there a truth to be known, though? So people can say the truth is one way or the other, but what do you think the truth is? Is there disproportionate violence in America?
Looking at the statistics that I found, I do not believe that there's clear evidence that black people are targeted more by police. I don't.
Where are you on a scale of confidence? Let's say 100 is there's no difference at all, and 0 is there is a difference. So the claim is that there's not a difference between in police violence against black and white people. So if 100 was, there definitely isn't a difference.
I'd maybe 90, 95.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, I think that
What would make you go from a 90, 95 to lower on that scale? What would cause you to doubt that?
if I started meeting a bunch of cops that were racist,
So like if you saw like so you would have to personally go out and see them, but would it like a compilation video of like cops showing racial signs back and forth at each other or saying things like that? That wouldn't.
I'll tell you why. I mean, I'd have to see with my own eyes because of the fact that videos, again, some videos you put them out and they can be edited. I mean, we could take everything that went down here today.
Yeah.
Say if you were going to prove that the support back the blue people were all the violent ones, you could put that video together. The same exact event, and I could put my video together, and they would look so completely different.
Wouldn't the truth be somewhere in the middle there then? If
Yes.
there were okay.
Don't go that way. Don't go that way. You're turning on a one-way. Okay, Jim.
People are going the wrong way on a one-way street. This is
All right,
chaos.
anyways,
it's hard to see where you're going.
No, I know. But so I'm just saying for myself,
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time around police officers.
Uh-huh.
I volunteer with them. I spend time in the jail. I've never seen it personally. And not to say that it doesn't exist, but for
Right.
me, from what I hear in the news and everything, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Every comp that I interact
And you think it's not?
I definitely don't think it's everywhere. Anyways, I definitely don't think it's everywhere. No, I
So
don't.
are these people who think that it is everywhere, why do you think they think that?
I think a lot of it is false information, and I'll tell you, like Breonna Taylor, going back to Breonna Taylor, I was talking to a couple of girls, and people they believe what they think is right?
Uh-huh.
So the girls I was talking, and they're like, well, what about Breonna? And I said, okay, legal warrant, signed off. They're like, no, I heard that the warrant was, no, they didn't have a warrant. No, they actually did. And then someone said, it was the wrong apartment. No, it actually wasn't. So if I'm going on that, a couple of the ones that I've heard about Breonna, that they busted into her apartment looking for the person that was actually already in police custody.
So these are reasons to be where you're at. I'm wondering what the thing would be that would make you go low on that scale.
But what
to see whether, because I'm going to ask the same questions over there.
Yeah.
Because my channel's about looking to see the thing that would make my mind change. What is that thing? If there is anything at all, and if there isn't, why is that?
So, but what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
I believe what I believe because of the facts that I've seen. If the facts that I've seen, and I actually go out and I look for them. I mean, I looked last night. I went and looked at all the different people that have been killed in Portland, shot the last 5 years in police custody. I mean, by police in Portland last night. You know, and I mean, so I go out and I look for information. If all the information that I'm seeing, I believe is true, but I'm only getting half the story, then I'm going to believe stuff that I only.
Is it possible that maybe...
I'm not getting all the information?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It's very open-minded of you.
100%.
What would be the thing that would make you go from a 90-95 to a 20? Is there something, just hypothetically, is there something that you could see that would make you?
I don't think so, because...
So let me turn that question inside out. Imagine now for a moment I'm interviewing a Black Lives Matter protester, and they're telling me that there's nothing that could ever be demonstrated to them, or any kind of information that they could ever see, that would make them go from a 0 to a 90. Like, how would we resolve our disputes with that person?
I don't know. I mean,
So
listen,
sure.
I grew up in a home trusting police.
Sure.
Because again, my dad was in some sort of law enforcement the whole time. That police were good. My kids grew up in homes that police are good. You can trust them. Yeah, there's bad people everywhere, but in general, police are good. Put me against a family, a kid over there that maybe has grown up believing that police are going to shoot you. You have to be careful every time you get pulled over because they want to kill you. I don't know if talking to each other, if either one of us could ever really sway how, like, it's like deep in that core. Like, it's that core. So,
Yeah, we're talking about belief right now.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whether or not...
But what I'm saying is that the belief, though, I think is a lot of, like, what they're fighting for versus, like, what I'm, not even, fighting, standing up for.
Is there anything that would make you go from a 90? And let me know if because I feel like I don't want to repeat myself at you, or anything.
Okay.
But I'd like to know if there is something that would make you go from that 95 to a 20. Hypothetically. Just to see whether or not our minds are open on the issue.
What would I have to see?
Yeah.
You guys are going the wrong way. What would I have to see? I would have to see a very... Oh my God, I don't want to think about it. Like... Lots of videos. Yeah. Lots of videos. More than just one. Because I think you can find one video of anything. Of police calling people of color, like, really bad names. And then just flat out shooting them. Shooting them.
If they did that without
that
calling...
guy that was running away and shot, if I saw time and time and time again with that, and those cops then got away with it, I'd be like, yeah, that's a problem. That's not okay.
Instead of video, if we took that criteria that would slide you down and changed it to numbers on a page, and the amount of people who are black being disproportionately shot on paper, and let's say it came from the current administration, maybe like the Trump administration.
Okay.
And it was credible to your satisfaction, hypothetically. You looked at it and were like, you know what, these statistics are convincing. Would that be something that would slide you down?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I
agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it would.
Okay.
But then the problem is, evidence and stuff. You can find evidence on both sides, and I think that's why it's so confusing. The Democrats, they put out their information, and then Republicans, they put out their information. And dear God, it's super confusing on like what to believe and what
Sure.
and I feel like what I do. Okay, I'll give you an example of something really quick. I'll try to make it quick. But we had our house painted a few years ago, right? Half the painters, the debate was whether or not just spray the paint on or spray and back roll. I got talked to 6 different painters. Half and half.
Sure.
Half said no, you just spray thick. That's what you do. The other half said no. You spray and you have to back roll. Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyways.
Yeah.
So,
The
but
truth
this is the
interesting,
thing. After listening to both sides, what made the most sense to me, we had sprayed and back rolled because it made most sense to me.
So there was a right way to do it if your goal is to paint it properly.
There was a right way that made sense to me.
Uh-huh.
The other 3 that said no, you don't back roll, it's going to pull the paint off. To them, they would say no, you did it the wrong way. But for me, that was the right way to me. Like I said, I took the information from both sides and then I just made what made the most sense to me.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense, but look at this guy, I don't know what he's doing.
So I'm actually gonna wrap this interview up. So I'm gonna try to talk to some other people before I go home today. Is there any one thing that you would advocate for that you think would be in the center of that Venn diagram for all people that are here? Is there something that would solve the unrest that you think is most bipartisan? What is the thing that you could advocate for that would...
Being kind to each other? I don't know. I think as human beings, I think we just need to learn to just be kind.
Okay.
Even if... I'm not one of these lovey-dovey, but dear God, we need to kind of just start loving each other again. And be okay to disagree. Just be okay with it. I think kindness. I just think being kind. It's to everybody. Even if you disagree, you don't. Dear God, you don't walk by and yell and call them all kinds of shit names and stuff. Because of the fact that I would never do that to them. So but I've been accused of being a Pollyanna before. Just kind of think that, the world, we can all just kind of get together and even if we disagree. But I think that is just being kind to each other.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we can make that happen. Thanks a lot. What was your name again?
Shannon.
Shannon?
And what was your name?
Nathan.
Nathan, nice talking to you. What's going on down there, man?
I don't know. I'm about to walk around and ask some more people. You too. Take care.